Bishop, Father, brothers and sisters in Dharma. My name Venerable Wisovijaya. I'm a president of Buddhist University in Battambang, Cambodia. Today it is my great honor to be with all of you for 3 days, and today is the last day, but not least. Let me introduce you the vision of Mahakosananda. Who is Mahakosananda? He is a Cambodian monk who led the peace march in Cambodia in 1990s, since we have Paris Agreement in 1991. He used to win He used to win never no peace prize, and he also used to be nominated as a Nobel Peace Prize winner for several times. So today, this morning, I would like to show you the vision of him. The face of God. The world is our house, and all human beings are our brothers and sisters. To love them, to help them, to serve them is our duty and our religion. Like you see in the picture, this is the motto that he used for leading the peace march in Cambodia. Like you can join together, the suffering of Cambodia has been deep. And this is the logo that used by the Dhammayatra. Dhammayatra means walk for peace, for non-violence, for brotherhood. And even though he is a Buddhist monk, he led the peace march in Cambodia, but he called upon all religious followers to join with him in order to make peace. Now, if I was that humble monk of Cambodia, as the Dalai Lama would refer to the Venerable Mahakosananda, I would probably at this point sit down, beaming with agape and metta karuna, yielding the remainder of my time to noble silence. And that would be my only verbal contribution to our august gathering these days. Sadly, I'm not Mahakosananda, so I shall ramble on. Allow me to humbly attempt to introduce you a most respected elder, a Cambodian Buddhist monk who once said, being a monk means that you are peaceful, you have no enemy, and that you are fearless. When I first saw Mahakosananda as a young temple boy in my home village in 1992, he was leading the first of many Dhammayatra peace walks across our war-torn, war-weary homeland, following the signing of the Paris Peace Accord after nearly 30 years of war. Now, I see the Venerable Mahakosananda every day in spirit, as he is one of the spiritual patrons of Buddhist University in Battambang, where I am serving as president my current World House. As far as I can tell you, Mahakosananda was always at home in the interdenominational, interreligious, interfaith world. While most Cambodians came out of Theravadin Buddhist tradition, Maha experienced the various branches of Buddhist tree while he was a student at Nalanda University in Bihar, India. It was also in India he would came to know better a Hindu world, a Christian world, a Muslim world, on that 15 years of journey of his life spiritual pilgrimage. Interestingly, his gift of the tongue, his ability to communicate 15 different languages, language skill was strongly encouraged at Nalanda University, allow him to be at home in many rooms of that world house. However, it was the universal mother tongue of silence, which would enable Maha to come to see reality as it is and envision reality as it meant to be. Indeed, the world is our house. With that a backdrop, needless to say, Maha Kosananda was no stranger gatherings such as what we have been out this day. During his lifetime, he belonged to, associate with, engage in, and work together with people in all faith tradition and none. As the Dhammayatra showed us, Maha was always willing to walk to areas of strife, conflict, to places where the suffering is deep, simply because that is what the Lord Buddha did. Maha would say, we Buddhists must find the courage to leave our temple and enter the temple of human experience, temple that are filled with suffering. If we listen to the Buddha, Jesus Christ, Muhammad, or Gandhi, we can do nothing else. The refugee camps, the prisons, the ghetto, the battlefield will then become our temple. We monks must answer the increasing loud cries of suffering. We have so much work to do. Of course, it is one experience of suffering, the experience of others' suffering, as well as the suffering of the earth itself, which teaches one compassion. Maha said the suffering of Cambodia is but a mirror of the suffering of the world. The Buddha explained that the suffering teaches us compassion. Whenever I think about the suffering of the Khmer people, I am filled with compassion, Maha would say. The most venerable Thich Nhat Hanh, a contemporary of Maha Kosananda, a Vietnamese Buddhist monk whose compassion was shaped, formed, forged by the cruelty of war in his homeland, would go so far as to say, without suffering, there is no compassion. At the same time, Maha Kosananda would stress that in face of suffering, compassion was enough. He would remind us of the need for compassion and wisdom to work together. For having with compassion, one can walk very eloquently indeed. He would often physically demonstrate the grateful in his public talks. To push the point even further, Maha said compassion without wisdom can cause great suffering. While Maha Kosananda might not say much in words at dialogue such as these days, especially in his later years, he certainly spoke by his very presence of the importance of our coming together. Maha would clearly believe that when we accept that we are part of a great human family, that every man, every woman has nature of the Buddha, Allah, Christ, then we will sit, talk, make peace, and bring humankind to it fully flowering. For Mahakosananda, this dialogue were to take place over every level of society, interaction, and activity. Our life journey is to be one in which we seek awaken the Buddha nature, the Christ nature, burning light of peace in all people. One of the more memorable Buddhist Christian dialogue which Maha was involved in was at Gethsemane encounter, which took place at the Trappist monastery, which was the home of the well-known Trappist monk Thomas Merton. I believe it is safe to say the roots, the origin of that encounter grew out of friendship of the Thomas Merton and the Dalai Lama some 30 years earlier. The Dalai Lama would later reflect that this encounter of dedicated monks, nuns, and lay spiritual practitioners of the two-faith tradition was proof that the purpose of religion is not to build a beautiful churches, temples. It is to cultivate positive human quality such as tolerance, generosity, and love. Fundamental to Buddhism and Christianity, indeed to a very major world religion, is the belief that we must reduce our selfishness and serve others. For the world is our house. One of the participants of the Gethsemane encounter asked James Whiteman, a Benedictine monk. He had to say of Maha, looking at Venerable Mahakosananda, one has the impression that not only his smile, but his whole body is radiant. It seems as if his skin has been washed so clean that it shines. One can only wonder that this man has seen what he experienced of the terrible killing fields at his hometown. One thing is obvious, whatever his experience has been, it has brought for the extraordinary growth in the spiritual life. Mahakosananda was once asked directly by Scott Hahn for his book, Future of Peace, do you have a message for all religions about how we can work together better? The good Venerable responded, yes, we want to work together better. We want to work together better. We must have 4 feet on stand on. He said, pointing to a table. The first leg is loving kindness, metta. The second leg is compassion, karuna. The third one is joy, mudita. The last one is equanimity, upekha. And this is something called religion can agree upon? Was Han quick follow-up question? Yes. Those are 4 faces of God. The Vega, the Vija, the Jew, we say in French. We can all agree on these things. Those 4 faces are once all known to all Cambodians. At the main gate of Angkor Thom, within Angkor Wat complex, there is a beautiful sculpture. It is very large, with 4 faces gazing out 4 directions. The 4 faces stand for the great quality of Buddha, loving kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, and equanimity. The 4 faces of Buddha, the 4 faces of God, Maha called this the nearly forgotten secret to Cambodia, secret peace in Cambodia. If one were wait for Venerable Mahakosananda to enunciate, elucidate, to lay out a 10-point plan or present an academic treatise on his vision of interreligious collaboration for healing a wounded world and the earth, one might wait a long time. But if one was searching for one who embodied his Buddha, his Christ, his Allah natures, waiting for one who saw this world with faces of God, for one who through years of deep silence, meditation, and prayer, learned to see with eyes of the heart, for one who would walk toward those areas of our wounded world where the suffering remains so deep, and walk away for one who out of silence of nothingness would speak a word which frees and be about deep which liberate people from their suffering. Then we would invite Mahakosananda to just be among us as we went about the proceeding, and we all home with interesting and funny story about our encounter that humble monk of Cambodia. But realizing this one embodies what we are so strive to express. He does it without words, without time limit, even without footnotes. The vision is to be the Buddha, be the Christ, be the prophet which we find in our Dharma, in our scripture, in our holy books. In so being, we will awaken in spirit of agape, the spirit of karuna, metta, which already dwell in every human heart. The vision is to be faithful to the spiritual tradition one walk in. Let the truth of one faith light the path, being true to what one has been given, listening deep in the same silence where Buddha, Jesus Christ, Prophet Muhammad discovered reality is it is, and reality is meant to be. The vision is to be what we truly are, though we speak of it in different tongues, communicate it with different terms, agape, metta, karuna. We listen in the same silence. We share a oneness which is fearless, formless, beyond words, beyond speech, beyond concept. Thomas Merton, on his final spiritual pilgrimage to Asia, he died in Bangkok in 1968 at an interreligious gathering in Calcutta, put it this way: my dear brothers and sisters, we are already one, but we imagine that we are not. What we have to recover is our original unity. What we have to be is what we are. Then a humble monk stood up and spoke. The world is our house, and all human beings are our brothers and sisters. To love them, to serve them, to help them is our duty and our religion. Then the awakened one sat down. Venerable young Yuli, I wish to yield the remainder of my time to noble silence. Thank you all very much.
Thank you for your speech. Next, let's welcome to Venerable Panaya Lakita in India. He will introduce about the vision of interreligious collaboration for healing proposed by Dr. Ambedkar.
First of all, homage to Buddha, the Enlightened One, gratitude to the Sangha for preserving and propagating the Dhamma, gratefulness to all religious leaders and followers for spreading the message of love, karuna, and agape. The topic for my presentation today is Vision of Interreligious Collaboration for Healing, Ambedkar, the architect of Indian Constitution. Religion is the most significant and vital element of human life. Religion is a construction in the human world, and thereby it is the creation of man. The religion, whatever it be so, whose foundation should be based on moral principles, should enable mankind to be empathic, virtuous, and humane. On the other hand, science is an exploration which unfolds the truth relating to nature and human beings. Both science and religion should instigate man towards the path of truth in life. Truth in religion and science should match with each other. If there are contradictions in the principles of any faith, then such religious principles should be altered to match with the science and truth. Otherwise, the faith will lose its utility to the society, subsequently leading to blind faith, conflicts, and wars, and also cause damage to the environment. Hence, scientific temper should be cultivated to question all irrational things which damage human relationship, that leads to conflicts in the world and overexploitation of nature or earth, which in turn leads to resource shortage in order to sustain life on this earth, which would consequently put our present and future generation in danger. Now I would like to put some Ambedkar's views on religion, which are as follows. Point 1, the function of religion is to reconstruct the world and to make it happy and not to explain its origin and its end. Point 2 is religion must mainly be a matter of principles only. It cannot be a matter of rules. The moment it degenerates into rules, it ceases to be religion and it kills responsibility, which is the essence of truly religious act. Point 3, I believe that religion is necessary for mankind. When religion ends, the society will perish too. After all, no government can safeguard and discipline mankind as religion can. Now, coming to the fundamental principles of religion, he says, the first one, that society must have either the sanction of law or the sanction of morality to hold it together. Without either, society is sure to go to pieces. In all societies, law plays a very small part. It is intended to keep the minority within the range of social discipline. The majority is left and has to be left to sustain its social life by the postulates and sanction of morality. Religion in the sense of morality must therefore remain the governing principle in every society. That religion as defined in the first proposition must be in accordance with science. Religion is bound to lose its respect and therefore become the subject of ridicule, and thereby not merely lose its force as a governing principles of life, but might be in course of time disintegrate and lapse if it is not in accord with science. In other words, religion, if it is to function, must be in accord with reason, which is merely other name for science. That religion as a code of social morality must recognize the fundamental tenets of liberty, equality, and fraternity. Unless a religion recognizes these three fundamental principles of social life, religion will be doomed. That religion must not sanctify or ennoble poverty. Renunciation of riches by those who have it may be a blessed state, but poverty can never be. To declare poverty to be a blessed state is to pervert religion, to perpetuate vice, crime, to consent to make earth a living hell. So now coming to the need for interreligious dialogue. At present, most of the countries are encountering social conflicts within the country as well as conflicts and wars among the countries due to social, economic, political, and religious reasons. If at least the causes of religious differences are eliminated, then the conflict can be reduced to a certain extent. For instance, if people are suffering from poverty, how can they be religious and law-abiding citizens? As poverty may lead the people to involve in many irreligious or unethical and illegal activities. Therefore, Ambedkar's words gain high significance here, which I quote, "The religion should not ennoble poverty," unquote. To solve these socio-economic problems, interreligious dialogues becomes important. Interreligious dialogue would enable countries to prevent social conflicts within their geographical space. This dialogue would also avoid wars among the countries and would establish universal peace, harmony, tolerance, and ultimately brotherhood. Hence, interreligious dialogue is also helpful to preserve this earth for future generation, for which the following factors for interreligious dialogues can be suggested. Point 1, to make religion suitable for healthy human living. Point 2, to resolve the conflicts between or among religions and countries. Point 3, to reform the religions in accordance with truth and science, as well as time and circumstances. Point 4, to guide the followers of religion to adopt right path of harmonious living. 5, to eradicate global suffering due to ignorance and poverty. 6, to establish fraternity among various religions. 7, to maintain intergenerational equity in environment. Christianity preaches agape, which is universal love that is similar to that of Buddhist Maitri, which is love and friendship that is essential for the present world. Most of the population living in Buddhist and Christian countries are stable countries and are either developed or progressing towards development, so that they can guide the world population for fraternity and provide environmental protection for the present and future generation. In this context, Buddhist and Christian dialogues become significant. The world is facing ignorance, poverty, inequality, and exploitation. Along with that, the population of the globe is encountering social conflicts and wars, so that the global population is agitated due to overexploitation of natural resources. Religion as part of human life can play a major role in healing this wounded world and earth. As Dr. Ambedkar advocated, religion should be built upon morality and science, and also that religion is essential for human life. In his entire life, this great democratic leader struggled against all types of exploitation of people and died as a Buddhist follower. As Buddhism follows the principle of Karuna and Maitri, that is compassion and friendship, Buddhism is open to interreligious dialogue over healing the wounded populace and earth. Finally, to conclude, Dr. Ambedkar says, I quote, "It pains me to see youths growing indifferent to religion. Religion is not opium as it is held by some. What good things I have in me, or whatever have been the benefits of my education to society, I owe them to the religious feelings in me. I want religion, but I do not want hypocrisy in the name of religion," unquote. So, religion is not east or west. Religion is not better or best. Religion is a moral test. Religion is to practice karuna, agape at its best. Thus, Buddha, the guide to humanity, taught Dhamma to experience reality. He said not to be obsessed with materiality, but to practice the path of spirituality. And this path, he said, is none other than the path of karuna, agape, and morality. So come, let us all practice karuna, agape, and morality to heal the wounds of earth and humanity. With that, I conclude. Thank you.
Thank you for your speech. Next, let's welcome to Venerable Panaya Lakita in India. He will introduce about the vision of interreligious collaboration for healing proposed by Dr. Ambedkar.
Father Pauline is talking about the Pope's engagement in this world.
Thank you very much. Well, I want to thank now the moderator, also to thank those who organized this colloquium. And in a very special way, I think I should thank Monsignor Indunil, because this topic somehow, he was the one who suggested it. And then when I came here, Father Suwat told me, you have 15 minutes and you wrote so many pages. How would you do? And I said, I can promise you, I will not read them. Because I assume that maybe those who will be interested, they can read them. I will simply share what, thinking in the context of this meeting, this gathering, and having been encouraged not to think about Pope Francis, the insight that I got. So I'm talking about here in the vision of Pope Francis, medical for healing a wounded world and the earth. Our session here is talking about a vision, and we had to talk about person who has been carrying out a vision that can be proposed as a model for interreligious cooperation for the healing the wounded world and the earth. And then my first idea was, what's a vision? It includes ideas that motivate, action that bring about a change, also attitude to embody what is aspired, and that can help transform problem into opportunities. And then, thinking about that, the man who came to my mind was this Argentinian, he Catholic, Christian, became a Jesuit. He was Archbishop of Buenos Aires, and then he also became a Pope. So I wanted to think about him the way, looking at how he has been talking. He talked about illness of the humanity. He talked about the illness of earth. And then I found that he's proposing medication. So the idea immediately came to me to think of him not only as a pope, but a man in a lab coat, so a physician. And as a physician, I was trying not to see that in his language, how he's embodying that fact of being a physician. So basically, what physicians do, well, we can see from these images, as a physician, he sees the evil that is in the world. He speaks about them figuratively as sickness. And he proposes way. He does a diagnostic. Something that is very special about him is that his diagnostic, he says, it is nourished by the light and the strength of the Holy Spirit. So it is not a common diagnostic of any physician, but it is something that it has also a religious dimension. And because of this, the way of talking about illness, they are not only physiological illness, they are also, it is an analogical way of speaking of illness. And so the solutions that are proposed, they do not only heal physical illness, but also the analogical, the root causes of the illness that we find in the world. And here I'm talking, he offers diagnostics, not autopsy. Diagnosis because the person is sick, our world is sick, our earth is sick, but there is a hope. The difference between a diagnosis and autopsy, an autopsy is done on somebody who is already dead. Basically, you find the reason why that person died, but the situation is irreversible. Whereas here we are talking about diagnosis, means that there are something that we can do about it. And so when we look, I thought that maybe when I captured this image, that it was very strong, because I found that in many of the saying of the writing of Pope, you find medical languages. Well, also through the picture that we saw in the other presentation, we have seen him visiting the hospital, talking to sick people. But there are many of this medical language being spoken about. He can apply it to different sectors. Just not to give example, but there are many examples in the article that we have on from page 52 to the end of the booklet that you have. Economy. The society and environment in which we are living in are unhealthy due to many factors. An economy of exclusion and inequality, it kills in many ways by setting unsustainable competition, wherein the powerful feed on the powerless by reducing people to mere consumers' goods to be used and then discarded, by excluding the masses who fail to enter in the system, by creating outcasts and social leftovers. The same, a sick economy. The economy that kills, that excludes, that pollutes, that produces war is not an economy. Others call it economy, but it is only a void, an absence. It is a disease, a perversion of the economy itself and of its vocation. These are the words, not his way of speaking about things. And so we have also, when speaking about Laudato Si, about the planet, no? The planet in which we are living, the planet, it is sick, no? It's like a patient in need of care. And so there are analyses, no? The whole encyclicals, as we'll be talking about, we'll be mentioning them, will be showing this. I add a little bit of speed so that we can have more time notes. So because of this, I start looking at what he has been writing and saying as a medication. So what a doctor does, he sees a sickness, he looks for the reason, he analyzes, he tries to understand why the person is sick, but then he has to write the medication. And in this way, I see the encyclical, Laudato Si, I read it as a medical prescription, which has concrete indication on how we can bring changes, not that heal, not the earth. So inside of this, and I think yesterday, the presentation of Sister Kayana, the one who was talking about us, about how she's doing this, she's using Laudato Si, who was already is putting into practice these ecological recipes that we find in this encyclical. We also have another document for the healing the wounds in the humanity. I consider the Declaration of Human Fraternity for World Peace and Living Together as another medicine coming from the clinic of Pope Francis. And inside there, affirmation about not using religion, not for war, recognizing each other as the brothers. When we see that many of the things that are being affirmed in this document, if we'll be doing them, then eventually the situation of war, of tension, or conflict that we have will be changing. Also, Fratelli Tutti, I also look at it, no? Fratelli Tutti, I think it has more of these medical languages because also it was written during COVID, the pandemic of the COVID. Also there we find plenty of solutions, and among these solutions, so social solutions in which a dialogue, social dialogue, interreligious dialogue are being provided as health, as recipes, no, for this healing. A healthy ecology. So concrete solution will be coming, like for instance, the support for, since 2021, this idea of calling religious leaders to think ahead of any of these COP, the conventional parties, so that they can bring a religious dimension, a spiritual dimension in the care of the earth. This idea is coming from Pope Francis. We had the first in 21st. The second one was just held in Abu Dhabi before coming here. And so these are ideas, concrete ideas that are coming from what I call now the clinic of Pope Francis. So the Pope also has many other things, like the advocacy. He creates movements and commission that will be implementing the ideas that are in this document. There are also ongoing research and assessment. This is how I'm looking at the latest document, no? Laudate Deum. In Laudate Deum, the last chapter, what he offers is an evaluation of what has been done, starting from COP, the Paris, no? The Paris Convention, where many things were agreed upon. And then he's telling them, we have been agreeing about many things, but nothing is being done. Eventually, a good medic, a good physician, he evaluates the progress of that you are doing to see how to adjust the medicine, what to reduce, what to add. And I can see also this in the way that Pope Francis has been doing. In this, always a religious faith dimension takes the upper place, no? God's primacy. This insistence on the fact that we are not supposed not to replace God. We have to put God at his own place. Because many of the crises, many of the sickness that are happening, it's because we intend to substitute ourselves to the place where we were not supposed to be. We deal with the earth as if it did not have any creator. So, and then this religious dimension, the calling, the idea that religious leaders, they have to be all together to bring about these changes. This is in Fratelli Tutti, 282. We believe need not to find occasion not to speak with one another and to act together for the common and the promotion of the poor. Yes, I'll be about there. I'll just conclude, no? So calling on these religious leaders to come together through dialogue. Well, yes, through dialogue to be able not to bring those changes. So a vision, as I can see it, there are ideas that motivate, that call to action, that enable people not to aspire to something that is bigger, that we can not do. And it helps us not to move out of our prisons and to be able to see that we can make changes. And I see that Pope Francis, the way that he has been putting this his own idea about the earth, about humanity, actually he's offering a vision that is acting as a medic with specific methodology, this seeing, this analyzing, this proposing concrete act, which is also, if you look at it, the way that we have thought this. We thought about the problem of, we look at the problem of the world, of the earth, we analyze them using our own tradition, our own scriptures, and now we are trying not to propose solutions, also looking at the models that exist already through the people and the leaders, the religious images, faces that we have. So those are the model that we have gotten and which we are fostering. Pope insists our care for one another and our care for the earth are intimately bound together. We cannot separate them. After writing this, it came to my mind, I just came out to realize that there was, at the beginning of the 20th century, a young Chinese fellow who went to Japan to study medicine because he was so sure that at that time China needed physicians. But then after a while, he realized that maybe China wanted something bigger. He dropped medicine, he returned, and he started writing novels. And the novels that he was writing, he called them medicine. That author is called Lu Xun. Because mental, non-physiological sickness are terrible, are more damaging than physiological sickness. And I think this is Pope Francis is doing to us. He's helping us to see the world as a physician, and so that we might be able not to see what we can do together. And I want to thank again our moderator, the two who have given us good example, Mahagosananda, Ambekar, and many other good images that have already come during this colloquium. That shows us that we are working on a diagnosis. We are not doing autopsy of the earth or the humanity. And because we are doing a diagnosis, there is something better that we can do. And I hope that after this time, we'll find more time not to go and concretize it. Thank you.
Thank you for your speech. Last speech, Father Pauline. I'm sorry. From now on, Father Kang In-gun will proceed with the discussion based on the presentation.
Thank you so much, Venerable Babian, giving me this chance to moderate. Only 5 minutes we have. So let me summarize what they say. Thank you very much, Venerable Visovijian and Vinaya and Father Pauline. Gave us inspiring stories of example. Let me summarize in one word. Venerable Mahagosananda, he interpreted Gandhi of Cambodia. Gandhi of Cambodia, peacemaker. Ambedkar, liberator of India, liberator of India beyond. Pope Francis, physician of the world. Is it right? Okay. So, any questions and comments from you guys? Please, feel free to do it. Yeah. Just raise your hand. Okay. Dr. Kevin from Singapore.
Thank you. I have a question for Venerable Vinaya. I have great respect for India because I've got many good friends from south of India who are in Singapore, speaking Indians. And to my mind, India is just not just another country, it's a civilization with ancient religious traditions, and they are being brought not just to Asia, but to all over the world. So my question is really with regards to the vision of Dr. Ambedkar. This is the first time I'm hearing about him. But before I bring up the question, I bring another figure that I have great respect for, is Rabindranath Tagore. Because in Singapore, we also have roads named after him. He's a great literary figure in Bengali culture. So my question specifically deals with how relevant are the ideas of Rabindranath Tagore, at least in his vision of creating whole nation of India. How relevant are they with the vision of Dr. Ambedkar? Thank you.
No, I would be more speaking on Dr. Ambedkar's vision. Rabindranath, Gandhi, they all have their own vision. But Dr. Ambedkar is the one who has suffered. So he understands better the problem of the majority Indians. So, and he has suffered because of a particular religion. So therefore he talks of religion which is based on morality and scientific temper. That is more important. Because most of the dogmas, blind beliefs that are being spread, they are also being spread in the name of religion, at least in India. So therefore, when it comes to religion, people say, no, that is something beyond science and rationality. You should not bring it there. But Dr. Ambedkar says, no, this scientific temper and rational thinking has to be brought into religion and religious scriptures if it has to serve humanity in its real sense. That is what I want to put it in short.
Thank you. Yeah, is it enough? So, anyone else? Okay, from Taiwan, right? Malaysia, sorry.
From Malaysia, but I look Chinese. I'm Chinese also. Actually, I was very impressed with the closing remark by Father Pauline, especially you cook Nusin. And I just would like to know further how you quoted him and equivalent to the vision of Pop. And correct me if I'm wrong. It came to me this phrase that he has always said. 横眉冷对千夫子，俯首堪为奴子夫。Am I correct? That's where you equate it. He's known, Nusin is known as the father of moderation of China. Thank you.
Can you explain in English a bit what she said?
Well, the idea of not mentioning Lu Xun because he wanted to study medicine, but then he realized that mental sickness, when ideas are not clear, if they are sick, that sickness is more terrible than physiological sickness. And so he switched from doing physiological medicine, and he started writing novels. Because novels now they can change the mind. And that's why I could make a parallel, because in real life we say that Francis has never been in a hospital practicing. But as you see the way that he's doing, he's healing the mind, he's healing the way of seeing. And by doing this, there is actually a bigger impact that can be done. It is my conviction that what we see today in China is actually among the biggest contributors. Lu Xun could be one among the biggest contributors, beside not the other, not the politicians, but that mind of him, that kind of renovation. Because we're talking about vision, so that's why I could make that kind of a comparison.
Thank
To
you
me,
very
it's very well matched. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Father Pauline. I'll give you a last chance. If I cannot ask this or comment this, I cannot sleep tonight. Anyone? Okay.
Oh, there. There. Sri Lanka. From Sri Lanka.
Venerable from Sri Lanka, yeah.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. So I was very curious to know from Venerable Vinay Rakit from India. I'm just posing the question to be enlightened, to get the knowledge of this subject. He was talking about the vision of Dr. Ambedkar. So I just felt like asking whether I have heard, to my best of knowledge, that Dr. Ambedkar has revolutionized India to some extent. So my question is, has Dr. Ambedkar presented some insights to eradicate the caste discrimination in not only in India, but we know that caste discrimination and problems of caste system, we are suffering from it from all over the world. It is not confined to India. In Sri Lanka and some Asian countries and some other countries, we see that it is being spread like a epidemic all over the world. So I was just curious to know whether what has Dr. Ambedkar had said, his vision, how to get rid of caste discrimination or this negative caste system from this world. If you can just enlighten us on that subject, this will be very good. Thank you.
Now, caste is something to do with the ego. That's the way I want to put it, or superiority. Humans have this nature to show that they are superior than the others due to some or other reason. And in the Indian context, caste is this factor. And I would try to define caste, the C-A-S-T-E. The first I would try to say that criminal, C for criminal, A for attitude, S for supporting, T for terror, and E for exploitation. So the full form of caste is criminal, attitude, supporting, terror, exploitation. And this cannot be accepted in the name of religion or in the name of anything else. And that is what Dr. Ambedkar was talking about. We have to bring humanism, rationalism, and scientific temper even into religion, because this caste factor has been spread in the name of religion. So unless we question even religion, if it is against humans, against rationality, against science, then that should be welcomed. It should not be considered as something anti-religious. And that is what Dr. Ambedkar tried to explain. And ultimately, he embraced Buddhism. He tried to bring reforms in Hinduism, but then, as you know, they find authority in the scriptures. So you can find fault, but you cannot make corrections in the scriptures. So that is what he found, that yes, people some accept, even Hindus themselves accept that caste is something wrong, but then they are not in a position to make changes in their religious scriptures. So therefore he thought it is better to embrace some other religion, and he found that Buddhism was more human, because Buddhism is human-centered religion. And therefore he embraced on 14th October 1956 along with the 500,000 of his followers. So I think in short, what I want to say is this rational thinking, scientific temper, and human attitude should be brought into the religion rather than just accepting whatever is written. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I know that you are firing to ask more or comment more, but we are running out of time, right? So thank you very much for three best the presenter today, inspiring stories. I hope your presentations will inspire us to bring our own stories to next meeting. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Bobby. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much for all, for moderators and all speakers in these sessions. So we come to an end of the program. So we have a break to adjust the stage and then preparing for the closing ceremony. And so we will have the tree planting ceremony together. So now we have a break around 20 minutes. We will come back on time. Please be on time, 10:30. Thank you very much.